I feel powerless to be able to do things such as the stuff that's happening in China,
where the Uyghur camps.
Yeah, the Uyghur camp for the Muslim concentration camps, and they're getting abused. And mate, it was the exact same thing that was happening in Nazi Germany. I'm telling you this now, exact same thing. And China is becoming such a superpower. I'm warning people about this. China's becoming such a national superpower that things could go south very, very quickly. Because China, the way that they're looking at human rights laws are very, very different to what it is in the West.
Of course.
If they're looking at a lot of other things, they're very, very passionate about the workforce and getting things done rather than the actual the health and welfare of the workers. And they're investing a lot of money in Africa, and it's going to be...
Africa's the new China.
In the next 10, 20 years, it's going to be a very, very...
strange world.
Yeah, because the struggle for power and where money is so important is going to be one of the biggest aspects of it. China don't care about human rights.
Of course.
Or they don't care about human rights as much as people in the West.
Of course it doesn't.
But they're still the biggest power in the world today. So where are things going?
It says in August 2018, a United Nations Human Rights panel said that it received many credible reports that 1 million ethnic Uyghurs in China had been held in re-education camps.
That's 2018.
So
I heard it's gone up to 3 million.
Yeah.
I've heard it's gone even higher than that.
And the thing
they're
is,
building it and it's escalating
they
even further.
built this they built this because obviously these camps are really in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They built this camp outside this town that's probably, I don't know, the size of God knows, I don't know, this small town, right?
Yeah,
a couple of 100,000 people live there, and they built this camp and it was like half the size of this town.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 2 years later, the camp was 3 times the size of this town.
Yeah.
This like the biggest one. It houses like, I don't know, maybe 300, 400,000 people. They re-educate them. They've got lessons, and I watched some reports about the Uyghur people. They're not allowed to speak their own language anymore.
No.
They have to speak Chinese.
Yep.
They have to sing,
Mate,
praise.
Force them to drink alcohol, even though it's against their religion, but it's because it's in association with what is inside
And
Chinese culture.
they have to sing the Democratic People's Party of China songs, whatever, things like that.
They probably blast it on 24/7.
They have to sing it.
It's what is happening in Nazi. It was happening in Nazi Germany to the Jewish people or people of minorities. Or
how
whatever
do
it was.
we not learn? Like, how is that allowed?
How the fact are people? Trump's like, yep, I'm gonna go bomb this guy because there was an inevitable attack on America, but there's 3 million people plus. Maybe. I don't know how many are there.
But there's so much footage. There was a Vice thing. They went in. They managed to get in there.
Everyone's getting popularity about it.
And
but
they
because China's so powerful, it's hard to actually battle them.
Of course.
And
the thing is, these tourists get... when they go to Xinjiang, which is the region where it is, there's checkpoint Charlie checks everywhere, like checkpoints everywhere. They have to show their passport, they have to show their phones, they have to empty their pockets. They go through metal detectors just to go to the food shops, the markets. There's police stationed everywhere, there's cameras everywhere. It's insane. It's become like a superhuman city.
Do you know the reason that they've actually started it? Or what's the theorized reason that they're starting it? It's because the map of China would be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And Hong Kong is on the far eastern side of the country.
That's a shithole at the moment as well.
Yeah, well, it's crazy out there. And it's people revolting against it. The Chinese government has over 300 million people ready to call into the army. 300 million people ready like that to call into the army. But I digress. If you look on the western side of the country, this is where they connect to places like India. They go to the west of the world. And this is the indigenous place.
It's the Silk Road.
Yeah, this is the indigenous place of these people. And because they're standing in the way of them,
they want to just get rid of them.
Get out of the way, man.
I heard they built like huge highways, like motorways connected from Xinjiang region all the way into India, all the way into Russia.
They're trying to build it. And they're trying to get a Silk Road through the ships as well, which is
and they just want to get rid of these people, which is just essentially Palestine. It's going to happen again. But the Uyghur community...
and they're not powerful enough to stand up against it, especially because they're inside China.
They had a country, in the 70s. They had their own country in the USSR times, and it was called, I think it was called the People's Republic of some random shit.
I don't know, but Tibet was very close to it as well, and Tibet apparently
it had
China
a name
had to have rule over it, so India wouldn't have rule over it.
It had a name like Kyrgyzstan or Kyrgyzstan. Like it was one of them places. And then it got taken back by China because it deemed that it was too much of a good passage. So now they're all getting just taken, and they're building motorways, and they're just trying to capture everyone.
Mate, it's the same with what I just mentioned about Tibet. Tibet isn't a strong enough country with the countries that surround it to actually survive on its own. And the Chinese said, oh, the reason that we took over Tibet is so India wouldn't take over them. And that was the kind of foundation of what it was this country can't survive on its own, so we're here to help them out. And then that was the whole kind of like process behind it.
You know, the Dalai Lama's like 80 now, or whatever. Like
I thought he was dead for the past 10 years.
No, that's the Queen.
Oh, fair enough.
The Dalai Lama is like around, and usually they appoint a kid to become the next Dalai Lama. I'm not sure what the word is. There's a word. And
guess.
do you know how the ceremony works?
No.
They bring in these kids who could be the next Dalai Lama, right, from this village, right? The Dalai Lama himself comes, and they put toys on the table, and the kid, when he's still like really small, goes through a test, like challenge of picking out the right things and doing it, and if he gets it all right, he's appointed to be the next Dalai Lama, and he's like, a god.
Yeah.
The thing is, China kidnapped the kid Dalai Lama.
What?
In the 80s, yeah, when the whole war was going on.
Wait, so the Dalai Lama that's about
the
now.
Dalai Lama now is probably the last Dalai Lama ever, because the one who was appointed got kidnapped in the late 80s, 90s.
Really?
Yeah, true story.
Fuck.
So there's
Really?
probably not going to be another Dalai Lama unless he comes back, because it is said that he's been kept in captivity. But obviously Chinese people they hate that stuff. They're like, leave, you know.
Yeah.
Because it brings essentially this could be the last Dalai Lama. This could be the end of a religion.
That's crazy.
Imagine that.
Absolutely insane, man. And that's a good way to kind of sum up the episode. If I'm being honest, it seems that people's authority is more important than looking after.
In 2004 interview with Time, the current Dalai Lama stated the institution of the Dalai Lama and whether it should continue or not. It's up to the Tibetan people. If they feel it's relevant, then it will cease. Irrelevant, it will cease. And there will be no 15th Dalai Lama. So it's like, because of all the stuff that's going on, there's no hope anymore, you know?
And that's the thing. The world is just... the 24-hour news cycle is so dangerous because it just doesn't seem like anything's gonna matter. Anything that happened, Epstein's thing was the biggest issue in the world for 48 hours, and then just disappeared.
The wildfires in Australia were everywhere, and then the next thing you know, Meghan and Harry are everywhere now.
Yeah, mate.
You know, they just put things under the carpet and forget about it.
And